I might have to squeeze into a ladies' large. Let's see. No one needs to see that. Okay, our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, if we can get your attention, our next speaker is the Honourable MP for Wollondilly, Judy Hannan. Judy is a proud mother, wife, sister and grandmother. She has been deeply committed to the Wollondilly electorate and community through her roles as a Wollondilly councillor and now as the independent New South Wales State Member for Parliament. Judy is committed to the notion that independent and local representation matters and actively encourages and supports women to step into the political arena. Before entering a New South Wales State Parliament in 2023, Judy has been a president, board member and mayor with over 20 years of experience across the not-for-profit public and private sectors. With particular experience in local government and clinical medicine industries, we are beyond grateful. She is a fantastic supporter of the Blue Butterfly Institute, and we are beyond grateful for her ongoing support. There are not enough words to thank Judith for her time and what she does for us. Ladies and gentlemen, big round of applause for Judith Hannan.
Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for those kind words. But what I'd prefer to tell you, and I know you say what your favourite things are, until you're a grandmother, you don't know what favourite is. Because once you've got grandbabies, everything else pales into significance. So thank you, and I would send a message out to all the grandmothers out there. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Thank you for having me here today. And firstly, I need to, all of you put your hands together for the Blue Butterfly Institute volunteers. Led by the Institute's founder and director, Tina Meyer, who are hardworking, full-time, their professional generosity, volunteering to advocate for victims and survivors of sexual trauma, support for them through their healing journey and educational information. I'd like to thank the Blue Butterfly Institute for holding this high tea event and choosing the theme, Men's Trauma from Sexual Abuse. This high tea shines a spotlight on a subject that we don't ordinarily discuss in the community. The trauma, as we've heard, is likely hidden from view behind the silence, shame and misunderstanding that's associated with men's emotions. When people think about sexual abuse survivors, men are too often forgotten. Society teaches boys to be strong, tough and emotionally invulnerable. In this Wollondilly community, we have men in male-orientated occupations, usually things like coal mining, manufacturing, farming, building and construction trades, fire and emergency services, police and corrective services and logistics. And you can all think about somebody you know that's in those particular positions. And in these occupation and social groups, many men grow up hearing the phrases like, man up, be strong, or real men don't cry. And because of this, male survivors frequently suffer in silence, believing they will not be believed, or worse, that what happened to them somehow makes them weak. But sexual abuse does not discriminate. The abuse affects people of every age, culture and gender. Men can be victims and the trauma they experience is real, deep and lasting. For many male survivors, the abuse creates wounds that are both emotional and psychological. Some struggle with anxiety, depression, anger or addiction. Others experience difficulty with trust, intimacy and self-worth. Many live with constant shame, blaming themselves for something that was never ever their fault. Some men spend years, even decades, unable to speak about what happened because they fear ridicule or rejection. These men are our fathers, sons, grandfathers, grandchildren, uncles, brothers, peers, friends, colleagues, neighbours and locals amongst us in our Wollondilly electorate or known to many members of the Wollondilly community. One of the most painful aspects of trauma is isolation, and male survivors often feel completely alone. They may think, no one will understand me, people will question my masculinity, and this silence can become a prison. And when trauma is buried instead of addressed, it often grows heavier over time. We must also understand that abuse affects every survivor differently. Some men may appear really successful and confident on the outside, while silently carrying unbearable pain inside. Trauma does not always look obvious. Sometimes, as we've just heard, it hides behind humour, work, aggression, or emotional numbness. The good news is that healing is possible. Recovery begins when survivors are met with compassion instead of judgment. It begins when each of us creates spaces where men feel safe enough to speak honestly. And the Blue Butterfly Institute is our local charity specialising in empowerment, awareness and outreach. As a society, we need to challenge harmful stereotypes that prevent men from seeking help. Strength is not pretending nothing happened. We should support men in our community who have experienced sexual abuse and help men feel free and safe to report sexual violence without fear from offenders. All of us, every single person in this room, should lean in, supporting male victims of sexual trauma and help survivors reclaim their voices and rebuild their lives. I'm really proud of the people in the Macarthur and particularly obviously the Wollondilly area, and we do know how to reach out to people. We do know how to reach out to people in trouble, and we do know how to open our ears and our eyes to issues that are around us. So let us become a community of people who listen without judgment, who believe survivors, who create a culture, safe space and support services where no one feels forced into silence. Thank you for having me here today.
Thank you. Fabulous, absolutely.